and it allows for us to fuel up the fire. It's a good starter. So we're taking off some chips. First, cheat a little. We're a little bit past the flingstone stage. So, Palmetto Grove, how we came to be. I always love cooking. My aunt, my stepsister, my stepmom taught me a lot of traditional recipes, along with my some family friends as well. So that's one of my passions. And growing up as well, I was always an advocate for Garifuna, the preservation of Garifuna culture. So when I got the opportunity after leaving the bank, with them not wanting for us to speak our indigenous language there, it was time for me to answer my calling in terms of Garifuna cultural preservation in a very unique manner. We need economic power as a people in order to be able to be independent and continue to be resilient. So the idea of a cultural business came along, and we chose the name Palmetto Grove because palmetto is our native palm, and the property of that palm tree is that you can try to destroy it, but it will only multiply tenfold. It continues to multiply. You might even injure yourself trying to destroy that palm. So we're that sturdy bedrock for Garifuna preservation going on from here. And then the mangrove is known for its nurturing qualities. And it's very nurturing. And as such, although we're sturdy, we're also nurturing. So we provide summer camps, musical festivals, and experiences to visitors in order to share the wealth of our culture. So we're this nurturing ground equivalent to the Palmetto Grove that flanks the shores of the island known as Garifuna Island that we reside on. Grass. So we're tearing off some lemongrass. And then some sage. Get you some nice fresh tea. Okay. Our medicinal plants in this area, concentrated, so whenever we need to treat some ailment, we just come in the pharmacy and nature takes care of us. That's a yellow ginger, and then this is the regular ginger. So this is good for joints. It helps relieve all the muscular pain and inflammation. And this one takes care of you as well to improve your immunity and digestive system.
What do you use the coconut shells for? Those bowls?
That's like little bowls. Yep. So we are accustomed to recycle, reuse, reduce. It's naturally our indigenous values to do so. We don't need to be taught. So a lot of what we have here are fruit trees, and they're mainly cocoa plum and what we call krabu, littoral forest fruits. We have different types of cocoa plum, so I'll show you the pink ones right now. Into a marshmallow with a seed in the middle. Nice, pretty, and tasty at the same time. And the idea of this island is that we're self-sufficient and we're having to grow into a small agro-producing entity. So producing wines, preserves, jams, different things that we can eat and we can share with other people who like organic stuff. So we're giving you a taste of our cultural bread today. So this is our bread. Breakfast today, eggs and cassava bread, along with some of our fruits we just harvested, known as cocoa plum, and fresh herbal tea. Right? So this is a bread that can last up to 10 years, maybe more. It's our ration. And if you see on the wall here, it's how the bread is made. It depicts how the bread is made. So first, over there, we got to go harvest the cassava, which is a tuber. You know what a cassava is? Mm-hmm. It's a tuber. So we'll
yucca, also called yucca, right?
Yucca.
Or
yes,
yucca.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
We'll grate it. After we grate the cassava, we will then take out the liquid. We'll dehydrate it using the equipment that this long equipment we call Wola or Ruguma. That's above there. This is how it's used in order to dehydrate the fiber that was broken down there. Right? And this is all a woman's event where tradition is passed down to the younger ladies. So once we finish dehydrating, we go through using this sieve. And we're sieving the grain. So we separate the fine from the coarse. And picture of that is behind you there with that lady over there. So once we get the grain that we want, then we're baking. So we're baking on a very flat metal kamal and using two gadgets, which is the Baisawa and the Gararu. Right? It's like a spatula and a broom that we level the surface and use to turn over the bread. So that's how cassava bread is made. And again, it's a bread, an MRI we refer to, that saved us on many occasions during the war with the British and the French. Other pineapple, but today we're improvising because of the rain.
There's another cave here, but this one looks less inviting. Well, let's go take a look. Whoa, bats. We're now at the Inland Blue Hole National Park. Gonna look for the blue hole and take a swim. Belize actually has two blue holes. One on the Mesoamerican Barrier Reef and one over here in the middle of the country. We're going into St. Herman's Cave, Blue Hole National Park. Oh buddy, dark down there. Time to get the headlight on. Tons of mosquitoes. Jaguar here. I wouldn't want to see one of these looking at me this close. We're here at the Coxcomb Nature Reserve. It's a jaguar reserve. It's one of the few places in the world where you can still see jaguars. And I'm going to do a quick walk up to a waterfall. The mosquitoes are eating me up, but I just got some repellent from a local Maya healer, and hopefully that keeps them away a little bit, although it's hard to say. Check out these leafcutter ants. Well, let's check out the waterfall. We made it.
The structure that is right ahead of us was the home of the king himself, occupied more or less between 2 to 550 AD, before these guys then moved to El Castillo, the big guy. So their private space for them. 2 structures still awaiting excavation, has not yet been touched by archaeologists. So they believe that when the king was down there with his family, considered one of the most amazing kings, but as he tried to make his way up here, trying to present himself to his community, then he would transform himself from a very powerful king into a very powerful lord, a god. Okay, so he would definitely transform his dressing. Beautiful bird feathers, the quetzal bird feathers, along with beautiful head masks. Okay, so definitely jaguars, head of a jaguar is what it would be closer to. And of course, wearing his best suit or armors and many pieces of jade. So whenever he appears all the way to the top, this is the home of the gods, he would be considered a god. When the Spaniards appeared here in the Americas, they would be tall, well dressed. They would bring their horses. The Mayas back then never ever, they haven't seen a horse. So they believed, yes, these guys were the gods. And of course, their skin color, okay? Everything contributed to believe that, yes, these guys were the gods. So when they saw the Spaniards, they would kneel to them. They would worship them. Eventually, they learned a good lesson. They went through a lot of, things. Today, Belize is basically well known for well said, a melting pot of cultures, where we would have them, the Mayas, the Mestizos. Basically, I could say the Mestizos and the Creole being the two major groups of people, okay? But also we would have like the Chinese, the Japanese, the Mennonites, which are basically the big providers of our food source. And also, if you look to the roofs of most of the buildings here in Belize, they are the ones who do it. So they have become also industrials, and their major point would be Spanish Lookout. Their settlement, they have settled there, and they are here since 1950s. Why? Because these are the same guys that migrated from Canada to the US to Mexico, reaching here to Belize in the 1950s, where government provided them with a lot of the flatlands where they were able to produce a lot of the crops, okay? And they are the big source of our food provider today, okay? So coming here in front of El Castillo, you can see that, yes, the Mayans believe in many mythical stories. One of those would be that the Mayan cosmos was divided into three parts: the heavens, earth, and the underworld, Xibalba, okay? So they believed that the heavens would have 13 layers. Never ever discovered that the world was round, of course. So they also believed that world was a flat table. That's the second step. And of course, going to Xibalba, it would also have 9 levels to the underworld. Who would descend to the underworld because they believe that, yes, they would be playing a football game. So the Popol Vuh, is like a creation. They believe that there were so many beings created. The one that lasted, or what that was done in the image of their gods, were humanity, the Mayas, okay? But even before that, they believed, that it would go the same as the Bible, the book of creation, okay? It would start, but...
And then there's other stories.
And there would be other stories. Like, for example, there is believed to be one of the creations before humanity. These guys, or these sort of like people, were built out of wood.
Right.
Okay? But what happened back then, they believed that, yes, the Mayas believed that these guys could not bend their feet, okay, to kneel towards their overall God. So they saw that, the gods saw that this was not good. What happened? They were burnt, okay? And so humanity came within the Popol Vuh because they believed that, yes, the Mayas discovered corn. And like what you can see, there is 4 different types of corns: yellow corn, white corn, black corn, and red corn. So definitely they believe that the gods decided to make sort of like a masa, okay, a dough. This is how they mold humanity, and they force humans on earth, and they were given this opportunity. But after what happens, so much time, they learned that, yes, they were not so obedient. So they were removed from these beautiful cities, okay? Today, this is the remains of what we know. But yes, very small evidence of it. And of course, it continues much more.
So I know that time was very important to the Maya. Can you talk a little bit about that? Why were they so fascinated by time and keeping track of the solstice and the equinox?
Okay, one of the things they would do is observe the celestial bodies. By doing that, they could predict the future, meaning they would predict time, and everything would be done for the sake of rain. Agriculture was really necessary for them in order to have, you know, a bloom in their population. So that's why the reason why we would say today that even women back then would have a very short lifespan. 40 years of age the most for a woman. Okay, because it is believed that women would, of course, would not have those nutrients, vitamins, and of course they would start to have children as from early ages, 12, 13 years, until they could no longer go anymore. Okay, so it was very important. The growth of their population was really important. Now, what you're looking here on the ground, the round circle, is a Mayan altar. This is the place where the first rituals was actually conducted. Okay, Mayans would call it the bloodletting rituals, because this would be the place where, you know, their best crops, their best animals would be sacrificed for the gods. So right here next to us, we have another piece of a frieze. They believe that this frieze would go all around the whole structure, but the one to the south and the one to the north, gone completely. Nothing was found. This one here, half of it was, the other side almost complete. So what are you looking here? If you look to your far left hand side, you're looking at another face or mask with two X's to its eyes. This is said to be the Mayan sun god, the Kinich Ahaw. Close to the Kinich Ahaw, as you notice, everywhere you go you can see it, the sun is always with the moon. Okay, so the sun and the moon are together. So next to the sun, Mayan sun god, we would also have the moon goddess, goddess Ixchel. That's basically the little box with the image of a lady with a small X to her eyes. And next to this, we also have the black jaguar god. It would have an X to sort of his ear flares. So you can see to the center, the two eyes, the broken nose, the front teeth, the lower jaw, and of course to the sides you can look at the animal's canine. So definitely the black jaguar god, known as the chalk mole. Like the king himself, I mentioned to you, the Mayas believe that their own king would have a very important job to do every 24 hours. Daytime, 6 in the morning, he would born as the great Quetzalcoatl, the sun. Okay, so he would descend. He would ascend to heaven, where the gods would be. And of course, as night was falling back again, then 6 in the evening, he would transform himself into a black jaguar god, known as the chalk mole today. So, why? Because he would be a cat, very agile, very flexible, and of course he would be able to look in the darkness. So of course, black in color so that he can camouflage the night. So he would descend into Xibalba to fight the 9 evil gods of the underworld. Okay, and then the next day reborn again as the great Quetzalcoatl. That would be a routine ritual game in honor to their god. So we know for a fact that at the very end of this games, one of the two teams consisting between 3 to 5 persons, the whole entire team would be sacrificed. Meaning that yes, they would open their chests, take out their beating hearts, burn it to the gods. And of course, as that happened, then they would be decapitated also. Okay, so a lot of human remains have been found here. So doing it really fast, we will come here and just take a fast, quick photo or whatever of the largest burial chamber that was found here. Not very long ago, about 4 years ago. That's including the time of COVID also. Okay, so in particular, I can say this is one of the most unique things that this site has. The largest burial chamber. You can come and you can take a look. You can go inside and take a look how big this burial is. Okay, one of the most unique one. A skeletal remain of a very important queen was actually found in there. Okay, and Melchor Temencos Petén is our neighboring town. Okay, so it's not far even from this site, a couple meters I could say. So definitely, and that's one of the reasons why down there We would also have these guys dressed in camouflage with their AK-47 because we are so extremely close to the Guatemalan border. They're here because they're providing security for us. Okay, security purpose. So our border, our imaginary borderlines would come sort of like north, but at the same time it will go a little bit east. Okay, so northeast, that's the line, and that's the reason why you can see that whenever we go if we were to go ahead of going north, we would even come across the borderlines if we continue to walk that way. Okay, so definitely we are extremely close to Guatemala.